Greetings and welcome to Epic Battlecry! This is the place where we cut through the crap to bring you the real deal on the gaming industry. Today, I'm Brent Adams, joined by my overlords of obliteration, my directors of disaster, Tony Grice and Daniel Kaiser. What's going on, fellas?
Not much, man. What you up to?
I just can't help but think it'd be really funny if we just didn't respond ever. Like when
just
on
let
one
him
of these
sit
weeks,
there
when he does that big intro, just screaming, and
just
then
give me
like,
the
we
cold
just don't say
shoulder.
anything.
Wait for him to be like, "Are you guys there?
Hey,
Skype drop you?"
like,
It's like, yeah, we're here. We were just waiting to be on a podcast with someone other than a screaming jackass. And I was like, keep waiting.
Doing well. To answer your question, though, I love Thursdays. Thursdays are a good day. I was born on a Thursday. And,
I think we talked about this on another Thursday edition of Epic Battlecry.
Yeah, but we're going to do it every week until somebody notices.
What do you
expecting presents or something?
what do you want? Like every Thursday, like somebody wishes Daniel Kaiser a preemptive birthday?
Happy birthday for whichever Thursday you were born on.
All right, so the question before us today comes from Jonas. And I'm not sure how to pronounce your last name, Jonas, so I'm not even going to try.
It says Ifoudine, which makes me think of fondue, and I think that's really, really tasty. In fact, I've looked it up, and you could buy the URL doyoufondue.com right now on GoDaddy. Go for it.
but not from GoDaddy, please.
Yeah.
All right, so this is at Ifomifo or something like that.
This is not mofo. Mifo.
It ain't mofo. It ain't that. It's definitely mifo or mifo. But his point is this. My point is this. He says, at Epic Battle Axe, what game franchise would you guys personally like to have control over, and what would you do with it? Money is not an issue. A very fun, hypothetical situation to consider.
That is fun.
Tony, what would your answer to this question be?
All right, I would say, so the biggest thing about this is not even just like what's your favorite franchise or whatever. To me, the whole thing is like which is the one that you want control over. And so because of that, it's like I sort of tend to look at the games like, hey, games that are doing fine and that I love and that I don't really see any problems with, I kind of put them to the side. I was trying to think of a series that I love, but I maybe feel like is not going in the right direction, so I'd love to have the control.
You could help it out then.
Exactly, hopefully. And so for me, it was Castlevania. Like I tell you, I have been such a huge fan of mainly the Igarashi, kind of span of the games, which basically led up to like the essentially like the more recent like 3D realizations of the games, like Lords of Shadow and stuff like that. Which not bad games, but to me they're not Castlevania games. They're essentially like for people that like God of War and stuff like that. You know, if you like that game, you'll like this game. It's a good game for that type of player. Yeah, but it wasn't, in my opinion, necessarily a good Castlevania game. Like it just, to me, the thing about Castlevania is really, I got to be honest, I love the side-scrolling aspect of it. It reminds me of the Metroidvania style of gameplay, where you're kind of going through all these varying environments. You're having to find new equipment that allows you to go to new areas. There is some of that that's kind of in some of the new 3D games. Like, I mean, even like the Batman games and stuff like that, they've sort of kind of brought that feel of like, you have to get a piece of equipment before you can kind of get to the next kind of place, that sort of thing.
Very much.
But it just,
very much so.
But it just, to me, it doesn't feel the same. It's not quite, it's, not to say those games are by any means not super fun, but they don't, they feel like different games.
You prefer the 2D presentation of it.
I like the 2D presentation. Yeah. I also just sort of think that it's something we've kind of lost. I mean, we are getting some of those retro games back, but we really haven't had, in my opinion, a great... Like, we haven't had a great 2D Metroid game, or because I kind of put Metroid and Castlevania are sort of, I could almost have gone with either one of those for this choice, but I just happened to go with Castlevania. Right. But they're both in that situation where we've gotten some good games from them in the last few years, but they went away from a formula that I really liked, and I think would still play very well today with the updated graphics and stuff that we have. Yeah. I mean, imagine a Symphony of the Night 2D, like a 2D plane, but you still do it like the PlayStation game was, where it has 3D, it has 3D polygons along with 2D sprites, but you've got so much more power now that you can make them look that much better. I mean, imagine
just like beautiful hand, like
imagine like a 1080p version of that game, but but using like the, you know, like
I'm gonna take my
I think it could be such a it could be such a fun thing, and that's to me something that I really do sort of hope. You know, hearing when Koji Igarashi left Konami, just you know, in the last year or so. He kind of hinted that, you know, he still had some things that he wanted to do, and it sort of gave the impression, at least to me, and I think some other people, that he kind of wanted to go back to do some of the games that he really liked and that he was kind of got the most success from, and I think that was from kind of in the Symphony of the Night, you know, Aria of was it Aria of Shadow? I can't. Sometimes the names of all the fucking Castlevania. Aria of Sorrow. Thank you. But like all the Game Boy games and the DS games and stuff, and kind of go back to that style, but using the new hardware and these new platforms, I think would just be so cool to see like a Kickstarter come out around those, you know, to do something similar in vein to that type of game.
Similar in vein. I got that.
Vania.
Anyway,
that wasn't a pun.
I know. Daniel, what do you think, man? What game franchise would you like to have control over?
Barbie's Horse Adventure.
Yes, that would be tops.
What, like Catherine the Great? Jesus.
No, but like Tony said, I mean, like, I really feel the same way. If it ain't broke, don't fix it type of thing. Like, there's a lot of franchises that I think are doing well. I wouldn't want to mess, especially modern stuff. But to me, if there was one franchise that I could have control over and work on, that would be both an extreme challenge and also an extreme opportunity, would be obviously, you know, for me, The Legend of Zelda, just because it's been around so long. There's so much history. There's so much you can do. But I think there's a lot of underuse as well of that franchise, meaning that there's so much that could happen with that. I mean, when you look at games, you know, within that universe that could happen, games that appeal to, you know, when the Wii U was announced, a lot of people say, hey, what are we thinking for our next gen Legend of Zelda title? What will it look like? Will it be the kind of, you know, cartoony type of thing of Wind Waker, or is it going to be more, you know, more hardcore and serious, like a Twilight Princess or something like that, just in terms of its presentation? But I think you could even go even further with a character like Link, who is this kind of universal character that isn't tied to one specific thing. Now, if you take a Mario and put him out of context, it doesn't really make a lot of sense, but Link is a more diverse character in that, you know, there's a lot of questions about, you know, just his nature, and exactly every time you're playing the game, there's something different. So I think you could do a lot of things there, but also I think that there's a lot of opportunity to have more casual experiences on mobile devices with that franchise. The Link Between Worlds game that was out for 3DS was one of the best games I've played in recent memory. A very imaginative, fun game that just played on, you know, certain aspects of the franchise and introduced a few new elements that made it very rewarding. So I think that franchise has the most potential to be successful and also the most risk, which I like that challenge. So that would be my answer. I mean, you know, to me, that character really has been something that's been a part of my life in terms of just, you know, that franchise has always been with me ever since the very early days of gaming. So it would be an honor not only to work on it, but to actually try some different things and explore some things. I mean, Link is a really cool character. If you put him in a dark setting with some, I mean, I'm not saying to the level of like a Dark Souls, but I mean, it could almost kind of work if you wanted it to. You know what I'm saying? So, and on the opposite spectrum, you could have a fun mobile iOS game that is, you know, just like one of those, you know, kind of like you come across a lot of mini games in Zelda and different stuff, so you could kind of, you know, drill down and have those available on the iOS or something else. So I think it'd be really fun to manage that franchise, and I hope that we actually end up seeing that, since I have zero ability to do that in the future.
What did you? I do have just a quick question. What did you think of the stuff we saw from the new Zelda game come out for the Wii U? Was that more in the vein of what you were excited about, or less so?
I think it hit a happy medium for me. I was hoping for something a little more... a
little more realistic.
Yeah, more realistic. Yeah. But
that's where I was kind of heading personally.
But at the same time, I think it showed you know, a lot of beautiful type of environment.
Oh, it's gonna be gorgeous.
Yeah, it'll be great. I think it'll be great. Well, but you know, I wasn't like overly like, oh my God, that's going to be amazing because I'm in the... I think they did the right thing with it, and I'm excited to kind of see how it goes.
Okay, cool. What about you, Brent? What's the series that you'd want to take hold of?
Well, the one that I would like to be most involved in would be the Batman games, and that the reason for this is that I have like this Batman game kind of in my imagination that combines all these different aspects from the existing Batman games as well as other games, and I've talked about this in bits and pieces on the shows over the years, but I have this notion of like a huge open world Batman game that, you know, literally has like every square foot of Gotham City laid out, interior and exterior, and in which you as the player can really immerse yourself in the world and just kind of get lost in doing things in the world the way that I had so much fun doing in Red Dead Redemption or in some of the Grand Theft Auto games before that, where you weren't even like really playing the game, you were just kind of poking around in nooks and crannies and finding interesting things that you know the developers had left there, and I think about a Batman game specifically that would kind of have that quality where you could just do whatever you wanted with the game. There would be story missions, there would be side quests, there would be, you know, these large kind of like mystery type things that you're trying to solve throughout the game, where, you know, you come across maybe a crime scene or something like that, and you're gathering
a little more
evidence.
Variety, sort of.
So that's the thing. Like it would have action, it would have detective stuff, but it would also have, I think, a really interesting potential for just I don't know, like, you know, kind of like interesting human drama type stuff. Like I was thinking, as repetitive as they got, you know, one of the things that was really good about the Spider-Man 2 game from the PS2 era was that, you know, just as much as you want to kind of like play that game, you could just swing around Manhattan and everything, and things would happen. You know, there would be, you know, like heists, there would be car chases, but there would also be things like, hey, you know, there's like a boat sinking and you got to get people off of it, or you know, just like kind of natural disaster type stuff where you're just like helping people out. And I think about like a Batman game that would kind of bring some of those aspects into it. You know, everything from like, you know, oh, there's like a building on fire and you're trying to help people get out of it, down to, you know, maybe you're swinging through the city and you see, I don't know, you see like a young kid, like you see like a 13-year-old girl like walking home by herself, and you help her out, like, you know, I don't know, maybe she's getting harassed by some guys or whatever, you take them out, but then you talk to her. Was she
at Comic-Con?
Yes, obviously, come on. And you know, you could like talk to her and find out like what's going on with her life, and then like maybe you as Batman can do something to, you know, kind of help her situation, or maybe you as Bruce Wayne have the ability to help her situation. And you know, like I just think about like all these different kinds of like human interest angles that could work into the game that wouldn't necessarily have anything to do with like fighting crime, but are true to kind of the Batman mythos and the kinds of things that we've seen him do in the comics over the years. I think that there's the opportunity for this open world game that would allow all of the fun and action of the Arkham series, but also for exploration and immersion like GTA, and really, really interesting puzzle solving, drama, as I said, and just fun and immersion, being able to, you know, drive through the streets on the Batmobile, or be able to, you know, cruise the city, you know, like with the grapple gun.
I think
whatever.
you just want a Batmobile.
That would be cool. Put any person's name in front of the sentence, and who's going to say no to having a Batmobile?
Do you not think the new one, whenever it eventually does come out, is going to be more in the vein of that? Because isn't it supposed to be a much more wide open world?
It's going to be a more open world, but I think that it will be as action focused.
Is what he's talking about.
I think it'll be as action focused as all the other games have been, and I agree. Like, to me, like, I want a Batman game as opposed to like the Arkham games, which are very, very much like they direct you. Like they're really, really about, you know, here's what you need to be doing right now. Go here, do this, and then go here and get this, and then open up this area and go fight a boss. As opposed to that, I like the thing about open world games is I like kind of the way that you, the player, can just decide how you want to approach them, you know, and like whether you just want to concentrate in one area doing something that you find fun, or you want to explore and, you know, go to some other area. Just like that feeling of just free roaming, do whatever you want. I really like that. I would love to see that in a Batman game.
I guess I thought there was supposed to be a little more diversity in this new one, but I guess not. So.
Well, I mean, time will tell. I haven't played it yet. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a Batman game.
That's it. So,
I hope they're not robbing you of your time.
Don't ever mention robbing to me ever. Jonas, thank you for your question. And if you have a question you'd like us to tackle on a future episode of the show, you know where to find us at EpicBattleX on Twitter. We're on youtube.com/EpicBattleAxe, and we would really appreciate you subscribing to the show, liking this episode, spreading the word, share the episodes when they come out on Facebook, Twitter, and so forth. We really appreciate all the love in spreading the word about Epic Battle Cry. Thank you so much for all the love and support from all of the Axehead Army at EpicBattleAxe.com. We love you all. We'll be back tomorrow with a brand new edition of Epic Battle Cry. Until then, cry havoc and let your voice be heard.
Seriously, doyoufondue.com is available. Should I buy it?
No.
Listen to your good friend Tony. He's trying to help you out here.
But fondue's pretty... Is it still big? I mean, isn't there like restaurants that all they do is fondue?
And yet they've somehow gotten to that point without buying doyoufondue.com.
Do you fondue? It's like got milk.
It feels like such a hipster thing, though. I mean, you know, it's just like, you know, like, oh yeah,
and hipsters don't even use the internet.
Fondue's
so,
coming back now, you know.
Fondue is back, and it's more fondue than ever. No.
No.